excited about tonight's topic. This is a weird one. Like, I would not have thought these things existed. Like, how could this be a thing?
I know. It's going to be weird. It's going to be a weird one. It really is.
And come on, like, you can't tell me that Gossamer wasn't one of these things, like, directly inspired by one of these things. Come on.
Absolutely was. Absolutely was. Oh, okay. It's 8 o'clock. Hello, and welcome to your favorite podcast, hosted on Wednesdays, the Paranatural Cryptid Preservation Society, hosted by myself and Kellic. And tonight our topic is, it's weird. Okay, look, we hinted at we got into it last week, okay, and it wasn't even last Wednesday. I think it was last Friday. I can't even remember what day it was. It was last week, and it started a whole thing. And now we have decided we're going to move it. We're going to make it its own subject tonight.
Totally derailed the podcast.
It really did, because it was weird. Okay, it was strange. But we're giving them the spotlight tonight. It's the monopods, and I have been saying this wrong the whole day, and it just stuck because it's funny.
I keep calling them Blemmyae.
I have been calling them Blemmyae. It's the Blemmyae. That's how I remembered the name, was Blemmyae. Blemmyae.
For some reason, Blemmyae stuck in my head, and there's not even an N in the name, so I don't know where my brain came up with that.
I know. I was saying Blemmyae because, I think it was Australians that say Blemmyae, right? I think it just clicked.
I guess you could also call them a cephaloi, which isn't any easier, but that's also one of the other names that they go by.
It's not any easier. It's not.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's a scientific name, but the scientific name isn't any easier than the actual name. So, but I digress. I'm sorry. We're nitpicking over something here. Okay, so monopods. The monopods, as we hinted, or totally derailed our last podcast last week. Monopods are the people. Now, there's so many different versions of them, but the ones that we were talking about last week are the ones that were one-legged. Okay, they had one leg that was coming directly out of the trunk of their torso, and they lived in India and shared in the same economy and same kind of village as the cynocephali or the dogmen. And they were known, and this gets me, I'm sorry, I'm trying to be inclusive here, but they were known for being sneaky. You couldn't hear them. They would run around, and they were sneaky, one-legged, giant-footed ninjas. Known for being warriors and silent hunters of the wild. And
they were extremely agile, apparently. I guess the extra size of the foot helped them really balance.
I don't know. Okay, so look, the pictures that we have seen that were drawn. Their 1 foot that they have is so large that they were known for lying on their back and bending this one leg over and using that giant foot that they had to shade themselves from the sun. No joke.
How big does your foot have to be for that to really to shield you from the sun or even the rain, for that matter? How big does your foot have to be to shield your body from the elements?
Dude,
That's crazy.
Know. This is, we have this. If you're not a part of the Discord, it's above our little avatar bubbles right here is a Discord invitation to our Discord. And we have links and pictures of every topic and channels for everything that your little spooky hearts desired. up there. So what we're talking about tonight, we do have some articles and pictures up so that you can see what we're talking about. Get a nice, picture in your brain pan, because it's there. It's mine. I've got it. I've had it in my head all day, and it's
if you want a mental picture, just think of Gossamer from Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Like, he's the big red guy with the face on his chest, and he's covered in red fur and the white sneakers. Yeah, that's him. I'm telling you, he was totally inspired by these things.
Yeah, the Blemmyae, the
Blemmyae.
Yeah, that one. Because those guys are completely different from the monopods. They have their faces at the center of their chest. But look here. That's okay. Wait, I can't, because now, that one.
Logistics of that.
Look, the logistics of that one's completely different, because there's like subspecies and stuff of that one. But with the monopods, there's two different. Okay, look, you got the ones in India, right? You have the sneaky ninjas that are known for being stealth with their giant stump legs. Okay, I don't know how they managed it, but they did it. They were hunters. They were good at what they did. My brain wants to question it, but I'm not gonna, because I don't know. I just can't right now. I can't. But then you got the other guys, okay? And there was a famous explorer guy who saw him. I can't remember his name right here, but I'm sure Kellic is gonna beat me to it once my ADHD brain kicks in. He wrote about him, and they had their own little city.
Sir Walter Raleigh?
Yes, that guy. Thank you. They had their own little city and everything, okay? But it was an entire half of their body that was not there. Like, just flat. Like flounder? You know how flounders are flatfish?
Yeah.
And the whole face and everything and is on one side of the body, and the other side of the body is just nothing.
Oh, okay. So that's actually, okay. That's different, because apparently, and I was going to bring this up too, there is in Arabic folklore, the Nas. I don't know if I think I'm pronouncing that right. Nas, one word. And they are actually supposed to be part of the jinn.
Right.
But like, their whole faces are on one side of their head. They only have one arm and one leg. They're like half a person.
Literally half a person. They're a flounder. They're a flounder, right? But a person.
They're the humanoid flounders.
That's right. They're a flounder, but a person.
We got a comment here.
Oh, Lord.
You mean to tell me these one-legged peoples are able to be sneaky?
Yes.
And nobody's able to hear no thump when they're trying to get around? Not one person. Not one.
Girl, I'm telling you, in the forest, in the leafy greens of the forest, with all the dead things and the crunches of leaves, like, I can't even do that, and I got two legs. But this one leg, giant foot-ass having person, just silent.
I guess when it's all you've got and you're used to it, you've spent your whole life getting used to it, like, you just get good at it. I mean, I've seen people write with their toes before, so, like, I could never do that, but I guess it's a possibility.
But, like, the logistics, though.
Right.
Like, you would literally have to... I can't even walk in heels, okay? I can't even walk in heels. I walk like... I'm like a football player, just in heels, okay? So you can hear me click-clacking myself down the stairs if I didn't fall down the stairs at some point. But then I'm thinking of it like, do they have to start, like, heel and then roll to their toes?
I'm assuming they would, and that would kind of launch them forward, because apparently they're very swift of foot. No pun intended. Well, pun intended, absolutely.
And they can leap over things.
I guess they're supposed to be like smaller people. They're not super tall.
No. They're not.
far
As,
have gathered.
right, as opposed to the flounder people. And I'm saying flounder people, but they're the gin people. Okay, no disrespect. It's just how I made the connection in my brain to be able to remember this correctly. They were just as silent and could walk around just as well as anybody else too, with their one arm, one legged, not fully developed self either. So, but they were just like, it wasn't like any kind of disability or disadvantages. It was just their race of people. This is how they were.
Now, get this. I actually read something. Let me find it here. I read this. Worth noting that the Sciapods, I guess is what they're also known as, Sciapods, do not view the single foot as an impairment. In fact, the Sciapod tribes are known far and wide for taking in refugees, runaways, and cast-offs from other societies that have been maimed or physically disfigured, such as amputees and eunuchs. These people, they show utmost hospitality, helping them to pursue productive lives without the without the limbs that they've lost. So, like, they're actually kind of cool, friendly people, apparently.
That is so sweet.
So, now, they may be, like, timid and shy of people, so that's why they're stealthy like ninjas and, shy away from civilization, but they seem to be, or at least back then, they seemed to be like kind of a cool people.
Dude, I shy away from society.
Right?
Okay. So I don't blame them in the least, because, I mean, come on. Humanity is the greatest thing on earth.
Oh, another thing that I found interesting is that they actually, so it should be noted also, while the foot of the Sciapod does resemble a human foot in all but size, not every Sciapod's foot faces in the same direction. Some are right-footed while others are left-footed, and apparently they don't get along.
What?
There's rivalries and competitions between the left-footed and the right-footed Sciapods.
Oh my god! Oh, it's the Twix commercial. It's the Twix
hilarious.
Oh, okay. We have comments. This is a good thing that we have comments because I can't right now. Which one's better? The right Twix or the left Twix? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
You mean to tell me there's a whole race of people that is only one half of them and they're walking around with just one cheek? They're one cheeking it around here?
They're one cheeking it.
I have to worry about one cheeking people.
The one cheeking it.
Cryptids, I guess.
Yep.
Would it be cryptids? I don't know. Would they?
They're cryptids.
Yep.
Society.
Cryptids.
I'm going to say community. I'm going to say community. That sounds better. One cheeky community? All right.
Girl, with you saying that, they can't even get their cheeks clapped because it's not plural cheeks. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now I feel bad for calling out the one cheekage after you go ahead and say that they're really nice people. Now I feel bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for calling out their one cheekage. I apologize. Mm-hmm.
Don't feel bad because I felt bad for a second, but then I made the comment.
Okay. Now,
it's a killer cheek.
Apparently, they are not only found in India, but there's actually even records of them in like Old Norse.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
Look here. They go back, I think it's the monopod.
Einfoting, if that's pronounced correctly. That's the Old Norse for the one-legged or the unipeds.
Unipeds, monopods. They've got like
right?
so many different. You could. Man. At least it's easier to say.
Yeah.
It's easier to
But yeah, group, like the Icelandic settlers, like in North America, they're in the saga of Eric the Red. Like these things are all over.
Yeah. Just like the now here's a question. Now it's my turn. And I don't even know if this is considered to be baking noodles here. But I'm gonna ask anyway. Do you think that the monopods are related to the one-armed, giant-handed hobbit creatures in the inner earth?
So, yeah, you mentioned that on our last podcast, and I don't know. It's definitely a possibility. However, the one giant hand, I think they actually had 2 arms and 2 hands. It's just they only had one giant one. So, which kind of reminds me of the guy that working at the power plant in The Simpsons with the giant hand.
Yeah.
but yeah.
Look, I just feel like I feel like they were trying to make a cryptid, and he was going to be a giant, and he was going to be fearsome, and they accidentally broke. Like, they broke him.
Right.
Kind of scooped up the pieces and put them on the conveyor belt and just hoped for the best. You know what I mean? And this is what came out of it.
At the Build a Human factory, they were like, we're missing a foot. I need a foot. Somebody give me a foot. And like somebody tosses them a giant foot. Here you go. This won't fit. Make it work.
The Build-A-Krypton. The Build-A-Krypton. I can't. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Okay, it gets worse because I have so many questions, okay? But they weren't just in India. They were also in, they mingled and cohabitated with the Blemmyae. I'm going to say Blemmyae because I can't pronounce it correctly, and that's just the way that I remember it.
I think Blemmyae is just Blemmyae.
Blemmyae?
I think I'm going to say the A is silent because that won't my mouth won't function that way. So
I feel like it sounds fancier if I say Blemmyae, like sparkling water. Right. I don't want a regular Blemmyae. I want a Blemmyae, please.
They pass back the normal person. They give me a Blemmyae.
I need a Blemmyae. So, okay, great. The Blemmyae, okay, these are the people that they're the headless people, okay? They did cohabitate with the monopods and the cynocephali, right? But they migrated. They weren't just in, like, I remember we touched base on this when we were talking about the cynocephali because the cynocephali were, like, kind of run out of their village in the mountainous regions of India and ended up in the United States and Canada and Africa. Okay. So they ended up all over the world and whatever. So this also happened to the monopods and the Blemmyaes. And it seems that the Blemmyaes and the monopods kind of stuck together from some of the research that we found because they were also found in Ethiopia. And, what's the other one? There was Ethiopia, the Congo, and one other.
Northern Africa.
Yeah.
In fact, get this. So let me pull it up here. Apparently, the Blemmyaes, they were a formidable people that apparently had like a whole city. They had kings, and like the Blemmyae king of Thebes apparently was like a thing. Like that was that was a thing apparently.
Where did he wear his crown?
Excellent question. One on each shoulder.
No, seriously, really?
Also known as giant glasses for his eyes that are on his shoulders. I'm totally kidding. I have no idea.
Holly, don't do that to me. I was taking you serious. Are you serious? So how did you know? How did you know that this guy was the king of the Blemmyaes if he didn't have a crown? Like, what set him apart?
I don't know, but apparently they were so formidable that they actually gave Rome a run for their money. And on top of that, even established themselves in Egypt and like took on a whole dynasty. So like, yeah. So that was a thing. Yeah, so 1000 BC. The Blemmyae people, let's see, they migrated from Lower Nubia, the area between present-day Aswan and Wadi Halfa, and settled in Upper Nubia, the Nile Valley north of Dongola in the Sudan, where they developed the Kingdom of Napata. From about 750 BC, for some time, this kingdom controlled Egypt to supply its 25th dynasty. Yeah. So, and then apparently, like, they were a military power that went up against, like, Rome. In 250 AD, the Roman Emperor Decius put in much effort to defeat the invading army of the Blemmyaes.
I'm shocked.
Right? And
I'm shocked.
Yeah. Now, the Blemmyaes, there are different kinds. Like you said, there's some with the eyes on the shoulders, and then some where the eyes are located on like the center of the chest or the middle of the chest. But there's different types depending on location in their size, because the ones from like the Sudan and northern India were supposedly like 12 feet tall and 7 feet wide. They were like huge, formidable creatures. And then Sir Walter Raleigh actually mentions that there are some in South America, but that they're actually a pleasant, kind folk that wouldn't hurt anybody. And they're like only 4 to 5 feet tall. So
7 feet wide.
7 feet wide.
That's a tractor trailer.
That's a hell of a torso right there.
That's a tractor trailer. Again, where's the brain?
Right?
Like, I need to know the anatomy of a Blemmyae. Okay?
How does the spine work? Like, what connects the arms? Like, what? Like, I don't understand. Does not compute.
Right? I'm having a difficult problem. Like, it's difficult for me to satisfy the itch in the back of my brain that's trying to, like, I can't.
Also, apparently, based on all of the artwork of the Dark Ages and so on, they also apparently invented the bikini briefs. Which it's in all the artwork, but I think that was just to protect their viewers from seeing the nudes. Because
I thought that's what the beard did there.
Apparently they were a very lewd people that just like let it all out there. Like they didn't wear clothes. They were covered in fur, and they just let it fly. Like, when I was researching, I even saw some very risque, like carvings, like rock carvings and stuff like that of them. So they were apparently not afraid of their anatomy. Or afraid of showing it off.
Respect. I mean, if you're not going to have a head, you might as well just embrace the weird. Embrace the weird.
Right?
That's how, I mean, I got issues wearing a tank top, and I got a head. Like, I got a whole ass head with a brain and everything. And these people are just like, you know what? Screw it. I don't have a head. What's the point? I don't need to wear boxer briefs either. I can just run around with what God gave me. I mean, why not?
Now, all the pictures that I see, they all look almost like goofy, friendly, maybe a little bit sad, kind of. A lot of them looked like they were being hunted down, which that sucks. That's a huge bummer. But apparently they were not as friendly as their appearance made them look, because there were talks of them being cannibalistic and all of that nonsense. And they had like long gold fur, and yeah, they were man-eaters. So it's weird. They apparently were not a nice people.
Well, I mean, could you imagine? I wouldn't be a nice person either if I was headless, and then, like, could you imagine, like, getting a headache?
Oh, God.
How do you treat that?
Oh, my chest hurts. No, my chest.
You're going into battle.
I'm having eyeball palpitations.
Give the whole new meaning to eye twitches.
And what happens when you have a runny nose? Like, the logistics. No. The logistics.
Do they have a belly button? Like,
I mean, like, do they have, like, is a beard belly the chin? Like, how does that work?
I mean, it explains why they have a 7-foot wide torso, right? Because they got to fit all the vitals in there. But imagine, imagine going into war, right? You're going into battle, and you're just frantic as all get out because you're just like, how am I going to protect this 7-foot wide torso? Because that is a big target. But all your vitals in that one area, including your face. So you got to see.
That's true.
You gotta be steady. I couldn't imagine carrying all my vital organs in my brain pan.
Now,
water baby head. Holy crap!
Let me see if I can find it again. There was one explorer that talked to I believe, an Indian sheik, and asked him about these. He was actually referring to the monopods, but when he asked, the guy basically told him that none of these actually exist, and they're like, he didn't know where the guy came up with it. It was just some like British legend thing that started for no good reason. So there's that. And then the other thought process, at least for the monopods, was that they were just normal people, but some of the I'll read it so that it makes more sense. The truth is that no such people do exist as nations, though there may be an individual monster here and there, nor is there any people at all such has been invented who have but 1 foot, which they used to shade themselves withal. But as all the Indians commonly go naked, they are in the habit of carrying a thing like a little tent roof on a cane handle, which they open out at will as protection against the sun or rain. This they call the chatir. I brought one to Florence with me. This is the quote, by the way. And this is which the poets have converted into a foot. So, that's possible. I mean, that would make a little bit more sense. If somebody was laying down and they had their little tent pole thing open and the little shade thing over their head, catching shade and protection from the sun. From a distance, I can see how like palm leaves stacked together could come off as like a similar shade to skin tone. But, who knows? These legends, they all start somewhere, whether it be misinterpretation or otherwise.
Yeah, but who mistakes giant palm leaves as a foot?
Right.
I mean,
and more importantly, how does so many people mistaken that from so many different areas across the world, like in Iceland and the North America and Asia and like Northern India and Northern Africa? Like, come on. Somebody must have been like, oh man, no, those are palm leaves. My bad. Right?
Yeah.
But no.
Oh, gee, shucks. That's not a foot, that's it.
Like, these things have been portrayed all throughout history. Like, they were talked about in like the Vedic records. They were talked about like in, oh, my brain's not working. What's his face? I can't think of his name.
You know what? He's
a Greek philosopher, Theseus.
That guy. I was trying to remember his name because I referred to him as tetanus.
But like even beyond him, you have William Shakespeare who wrote about them, and like they're all throughout like literature, and like somebody had to have been like, no, that's a bunch of palm leaves. But no, like it just keeps going all throughout history, and like everybody just gobbled it up.
Right. I mean, you think that, no, honey, you forgot your glasses. Go put your glasses on. That's not what you think it is. But
right,
no.
like, so how does that even become a thing so well known across the world unless there were in fact people with one leg and a giant foot
and faces in the middle of the chest?
Right?
I mean,
like,
hold on now. Like, riddle me this, Batman, okay? Right? How come it is that they were so ready and perfectly fine with going, like, the sign of syphili? Oh, yeah, those totally exist. They were great people, by the way. We traded with them. We boated with them. We fished with them. We had a great economy with them. They were great. They were wonderful people. But those one-legged people, though, those don't exist. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. But the dog-headed man, that's a whole thing. That's a thing. That happened. Now, why is that? Why did that happen? Why is that a thing?
I do not know. Like, how one thing can be written off as, oh, that's too far-fetched. Like, having the head of a dog and the body of a human? No. Too far out of the wheelhouse. But one leg, that could be. Like, that might just be a thing.
Nah, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. We can't go there. That's too far. You got to reel it back in. Why can't you just, put some chicken feathers on it and it'll be fine? But
now, in my in my research, I did see this one thing that it was a possibility for the Blemmies that they could have been misinterpreted, going like they were just normal people that had large shields that had like giant faces painted on them and stuff like that. So when they were going into war, they looked like people with their faces in the middle of their chests. I mean, you had the Scottish people who would charge into war naked and covered in war paint to scare the opposing army. Why wouldn't it make sense to draw giant frightening faces on your shield and make it look like it's part of your body? So
okay. No, that's plausible.
There are some possibilities out there that could make you go, okay, that's possible misinterpretation there. But the fact that they were supposed to be like 12 feet tall, that I don't know. I mean, we know that they were giants. And so if this was just an army that was made up of giants, 12 feet tall, and had these big, giant, massive shields, that could make sense.
Yeah, it could make sense. It could. I mean, I could see that. I could see that happening. I mean, given how oppressed the peasants were and the common people were, I could see how they would try to describe that happening and how it could get twisted.
Now, how that happens all across the world, even in South America, I don't know, because in South America, they were only like 4 to 5 feet tall, but they were gentle-natured. They weren't cannibalistic, and they just kind of minded their own business and did their own thing. They weren't like a thriving civilization, but apparently they were there. And kind of going into the history of these things, like these were depicted as fact. I mean, we're talking like the writings of Marco Polo and Sir Walter Raleigh and, all these different historians and explorers talked like these things really existed. And with so many people reporting it, it kind of makes you wonder, like, okay, if I was sailing on a ship and I came close to land, chances are if I saw something crazy, it might make me think, okay, that's out of the ordinary. But I don't see these people just carrying these giant shields around with them all the time to be like happened upon. Oh no, this is my face. No, this is my face. Like, I don't see that happening. I don't know.
I don't see it happening either.
And apparently,
you can't talk to it, like, because with the Blemmyae, my sparkling water people, the Blemmyae, the fancy torso faced people, they had commerce. Like, they traded. They talked to people. Like,
they worshipped certain Egyptian gods. They had temples.
Yeah. They had a civilization. Like, they were a people. Like, that whole thing, though, I was seriously shocked about them giving Rome a run for their money. I didn't read that part. I didn't get that far in my research today, which I feel kind of bad about.
No, that's fine.
That shocked me that they actually, went to war. I'm feeling manly. Yeah. But it just threw me because it's like, you can't mistake a shield, right, painted with a war face on it, for an actual civilization of cryptids.
Right. On the battlefield, sure. But like every other time in between, no. I don't see that being a viable excuse.
Yeah, me neither. And, I'm starting to feel like the monopods, right, and the Blemmyae here probably got a bad rap, because I feel like they're up there with the sign of syphilite. Like, maybe they shouldn't be a classification of cryptids, but just another civilization that was like, they were run out of their hometown. Now they're forced to live settle somewhere else, you know, and they became this fierce people that were eventually, you know, either wiped out or had to be forced into hiding so that they weren't wiped out. And I mean, they sound like they're like a fierce band of warriors who, you know, knew how to, you know, fuck around and find out. Anyway.
I mean, listen to this. According to some ancient sources, the Blemmyae were actual people who inhabited an area that we now know as the Sudan. The city was a large and well-protected one with well-fortified towers and walls. It became their capital city. It seems that the culture of the Blemmyae were also the same as the Meroitic culture, having been influenced by it, and that they had several temples in Philae, and Calabsha. And according to the Greek scholar Procopius, man, these names, the Blemmyae worshipped Priapus, the rustic Greek fertility god, Osiris, the god of the afterlife and death, and also mentions that they made human sacrifices to offerings to the sun. So, like, they were a kind of a scary civilization. I'd call them a civilization at this point. I mean, anybody that can give Rome a run for their money is, I would say, a civilization.
They kind of remind me of the Mayans.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, except the whole, you know, 7 foot wide torso and face being in the middle of said torso. Their whole, like, vibe reminds me of the Mayans.
And like, funny enough, the Blemmyae that were reported to be in South America were supposedly located around El Dorado, which I find interesting.
Look at making connections and stuff.
Connections? You're doing it.
Yay, brains for connecting the dots. I didn't even read that today, people.
But no, it's really crazy stuff. It's very interesting. And it goes back 2,500 years. So, I mean, you had people like Strabo and Pliny talking about it. You had Mandeville and Sir Walter Raleigh talking about it. I mean, it's all throughout literature. It even made it onto the Pyre Reis map, which, for those who don't know about the Pyre Reis map, that's like a whole thing in and of itself. Like, that could take up like a Friday episode, like Paranormal Umbrella, because that is a map that depicts Antarctica having no ice.
Yeah,
and that hasn't happened in 12,000 years, give or take a couple millennia. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that is an old map on, like, I believe it was a sheepskin, but it has the Blemmyaes and the monopods on it.
Yep. Sure does. And you want to know what's sketch?
What's that?
What I think is, like, super sketch. Okay. The conspiracy theories, right? You've got, and we do talk about that. We talk about conspiracy theories. We've got like a whole channel for that right now on our Discord, which is currently being filled up with the Georgia Guidestones. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with that, though, but you should, because it's real interesting. It's happened within the last 24 hours. But I digress. It's super sketch because you can't go to Antarctica. You got to have like special privileges and stuff now.
Right.
And
even with special privileges, you can only visit like the research laboratories that they have established. Everything else is completely off limits.
Yeah, like dangerously so. Like, you're going to like no longer exist. You're going to be wiped off of the IRS map. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Social Security office What do you mean? There's no social security number for this person. That never existed. Like, that's the kind of conspiracy theory stuff. So then you've got this map, right? 12,000-year-old map that's got all the juicy gossip. It's got
now, I will say this. The map itself was, I believe, made in the 14 or 1500s. Somebody might have to correct me if I'm wrong there. But yeah, like it was made in the 14 to 1500s. So kind of in the middle of the Dark Ages era. And say again?
I said that's like 12,000 years from this moment. I was talking about it.
Right.
Antarctica. But anyway, go ahead. Continue.
I believe the Pyre Reese map was copied from an older map. So it was actually a transcription of the map from an older map to the current map, which is still 1,000 years, well, not quite 1,000 years, but 700 years old? Something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still old, but the fact that and I think the original map came from Egypt, but it has these creatures on it, and they're located in the areas where they supposedly lived. So, I don't know.
It's got all the juicy tidbits on there.
Yeah.
It's sprinkled with all the good stuff.
That map is incredibly interesting, and for those who haven't checked that out, totally check it out. The Pyre Reese map. So
I'm sure we'll link it.
Oh yeah, we'll link it in our Discord.
Yeah, so that you guys can, catch up on all the scoops and all that wonderfulness. It'll be there. Yes, we have been discussing a lot of stuff lately in there with the conspiracy theories and the spooky vidgets. We posted some of those. And with CERN having been booted up recently. I don't know if anybody's been keeping up with CERN. Do you know what CERN is?
I do. I have not heard what's been going on recently, though.
They booted it up. They booted that thing up. It's going to be running for the next 4 years. If you didn't have a migraine, and honey, let me tell you, like, there has been many people talking about as soon as they booted that thing up, it was like instant migraine. I myself was one of them. I was down for the count down for the count for an entire day. Was not all right. It was heavy.
So I gotta say, who thought the Hadron Collector? Is that it? What it is? Hadron Collider. Sorry, my bad. Wow. Who thought that was a good idea? Because, I think we can make a black hole. Really? Let's do it. Like, who thought that was a good idea? Black holes swallow up galaxies. That's never a good idea to tamper with that stuff.
What was it? What was that show? I think it was the second movie that came out. It was a series with Tom Hanks. It was based on books. I think the first one was like Angels and Demons.
Yeah.
The second one was that
The Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code, and the second one was Angels and Demons.
I think so.
Like, he had to follow the trail and everything and all that stuff, and part of it was that they like stole something from a laboratory that they did the particle thing, and they were gonna like literally blow up the Vatican, and that little particle thing was gonna do it. Like, this is that, this is the thing that they were like talking about. We don't need to fold.
Idea.
It is, because we don't need to fold dimensions over each other any more than we already have. Like,
I hear this nagging quote from Jeff Goldblum in the back of my mind. Like, we were so preoccupied with whether we didn't stop to think if we should.
Exactly. That right there. I'm telling you, because look, I know we're getting off topic here, but I mean, we're winding up. We're in the last 10 minutes here. So, I mean, we might as well go into the conspiracy But my whole thing with this is we've already got like the Mandela effects that we've been talking about. We kind of sprinkled Mandela effects here and there through our podcast over the last couple of weeks. And a friend of mine, she is actually listening here. I'm sure that's her right there. We discuss Mandela effects all the time. Oh, it's not. It's Dylan. Okay, let's hear what Dylan has to say.
I mean, the last time it was turned on was 2019, and what happened in 2019, that was kind of a big deal. That changed everything.
See, exactly. See, we got the Mandela effect, and when they turn, nothing good happens, is what I'm saying. Nothing good happens when this thing turns on. Okay? It's been on
and
for
I've heard some pretty interesting conspiracy theories about that, where like people just go missing and like out of elevators and stuff like that. Like just basically no clipped into a different universe or world or dimension or whatever.
Exactly.
So,
just dimension, realm beat. Just going, I'm going for this realm.
And this run is going to be the fastest that they've ever accelerated to.
See?
Super.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. And so many people have been discussing the weird things that have been happening since it's been turned on. We've already got another Mandela effect that just happened that involves King Tut. Now,
King Tut? Okay.
Yeah.
Do tell. I got to hear it.
Okay, listen, Linda. Okay. This is gonna be an argument, and here's why this is gonna be an argument, because one of our listeners, I'm not gonna name her name because I'm not sure if she wants me to put her actual name out here. I'm sure that's her right there. Anyway, King Tut headdress. How do you remember King Tut's headdress? What was in the middle at the top?
There was a snake and a vulture.
See, that's how you remember it. Now, I remember King Tut's headdress having just the cobra fanned out at the top, and that's it. Nothing else. It's always been that way. And you know how I have been about history, especially my Egyptology.
About that. And here's where I would say you got that impression from, assuming this is not a Mandela effect, which it totally possibly could. I don't write anything off because I have seen 2 tapes, like VHS tapes, side by side with Berenstein and Berenstain, both spelled different, right next to each other. So I know it's a thing. But in like throughout Hollywood history, they have only ever portrayed the cobra in the middle.
Right.
So that may be why. Just because Hollywood mishap.
Okay, see, I hear you, but I raise you. I have gone to the museum in New York. I have gone there. I went and I saw the Egyptian and the Greek expo that they did there. They had
that's awesome.
So I went. I saw it. I went there firsthand. Saw the Dead Sea Scrolls and everything. So I went there and I'm like, holy crap balls, Batman. That is really awesome. And it was a cobra. There was no 2 things on it. It was a cobra. Now that's how I remember it. That's what I see. I'm going to have to post a picture because I took a picture of it. So it was a cobra. Okay. The whole time. So I'm explaining this to my friend. Yeah. So I'm explaining this to my friend today. And I'm like, we already got our first Mandela effect. Y'all look, check it out. And everybody's arguing about it because they're like, no, it's always had this. One lady remembers it being, more than one lady remembers it being a sparrow. It was a cobra next to a sparrow, and she's an Egyptologist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So she's like, nah, really, I'm an Egyptologist. Like, she's holding up her degree and everything, and the whole 9 yards. It was never there. It was a sparrow and this. And then there's another person who is arguing it was never a sparrow. It was a vulture. Now, when I brought it to my friend here, who I'm sure is even in the comments, we're going to have to...
Oh, the comments are piling up.
They're piling up. She said it was not a sparrow. It was a vulture. And that has always been that way. And this is an old thing because this Mandela effect, certain Mandela effect, came to her like a long time ago. Like this is this is a new.
I will say this. I was actually doing some research, I guess it was about a couple months ago, about the dagger that was in King Tut's sarcophagus with the mummy, obviously. And so like I was looking at pictures of it and I was doing all the research on it. And because apparently this dagger was made out of what they thought was meteorite, but it ended up not being meteorite. It's something totally different. So, but
I remember that.
At that time, looking at all of that, I remember seeing the vulture and the cobra. So, and that was a couple months ago. All right, let's get to these comments here.
We got a lot of comments, girl. Let's go.
The back rooms. They fell into the back rooms. Oh, God, it's all connected.
Dylan, you missed our backrooms discussion. You missed our backrooms podcast that we did. That one was so much fun. I really liked that one.
That was fun.
I'm gonna need you to repeat if the migraine thing again. What about migraines? Because is that gonna cause them? I'm scared.
When they turned it on, okay, it was July 5th. Their time, they turned it on at 1 o'clock. Our time, it was noon. And people, migraines. They got migraines real bad. I was one of them. I had a horrible migraine. I was down for the count. Could not get out of bed. Couldn't even have my fan on. That's how bad it was. And it lasted all night into the morning. And then the next day, it felt like I got hit by a Mack truck. Like it was.
Now, when did they turn it on exactly?
July 5th. July 5th.
Oh, so yesterday.
Yeah, it's been on. Girl, I'm telling you, it's been on for like 24 hours.
That's like recent.
Yeah, we've already got people. The Mandela effect with King Tut's headdress, and now we have these stones, the guide stones in Georgia. One of them was bloated the hell up. And look, people who live
that's weird.
In Georgia, the residents who live 10 miles away from these said guide stones, okay, they are arguing. They live there 10 miles away from these things, okay, arguing over whether it was a bomb that exploded it, or if it was lightning that struck it and took it out. And
so I am definitely saying that it's not lightning. I'm calling that right now because lightning doesn't have enough destructive force to cause the explosion that I watched on that video that's on our Discord. Like that,
right.
That wasn't lightning.
It was, those things are green. They're like solid green.
Okay,
and
so honestly, the light from the video that I saw, the light got really bright, like a flash bulb, and then it looked like something shot from the light bulb to the block and blew it up. It was crazy.
It was crazy. There was a whole bomb squad out there and everything. Like, it's currently being investigated by like a heavy team of like bomb squad and the whole 9 yards out there to find out what exactly happened, because it only took out one of the, if I'm remembering correctly, 4 tablets. And I'm calling them tablets, but they're huge granite stones. And
it's a megalithic structure.
Yes, right. And on each side, it's these things are written out, and it's the same thing written out, but in different languages. And
it's like a humanities guidelines or something.
Right. And people are saying, now it's not confirmed because I can't confirm it because I haven't, it's a developing story. People are saying that it was the Hindu stone that was blown up. So, but I'm not sure. I can't confirm that yet. So let's get to this other comment here.
Google does show both versions of his headdress with the 2 snakes and just the one. I just Googled it to see.
See, that is
Weird.
so interesting. Because people earlier today, they were talking about, you've got the Hollywood version, right? Which is just the snake. And then you've got the original version, which is what the argument is about. The original headdress. And me with the original headdress, having seen the original headdress, it was just the cobra fanned out. Now,
you gotta post that picture. If you can find it, definitely post that in the Discord.
I'm gonna have to, because it was the cobra. But in the Hollywood version, it was just the cobra for show, like in Cleopatra and
right.
Oh God, there's another one. It was just the cobra. But in the actual headdress, it was just the cobra. But now everybody's arguing, it's like, no, it was always been the cobra or the sparrow, or the cobra and the vulture, or just the cobra. So nobody can tell you, because even when you Google it, when you Google the original headdress,
they both come up.
No, it's not coming up with the original, what people remember as the original headdress. You're only getting the new version of the cobra and the sparrow. But again, like I said, my friend here who's listening currently said it's never been a sparrow, it's been a vulture. So it's all here. Let's listen to her.
I remember it as being just a cobra pre-Mandela effects, but I found out about the vulture several years back after I started learning about Mandela.
See, there you go. See, right there.
I think there's a lot of Mandela effects that are happening that we don't even realize. Like, I've heard people talk about how, like, they were driving down the road and, in their neighborhood, and all of a sudden there was a tree in, like, the median where, like, there was no tree before. Like, a well-established, like, 50-year-old tree, big gnarly roots and, a nice size full-grown tree in the median where there hadn't been one before. And then, like, people going back to their childhood homes and, like, there's no staircase where there used to be a staircase, and their parents say there never was a staircase, like, leading out of the home to, like, the front path. So it's just weird. Like, there's people remember things very differently, and I think it's happening on a smaller scale than any of us is really noticing. You almost have to, like, keep your eyes peeled all the time.
Let's get to the rest of these comments.
See, now I'm actually confused because I don't remember seeing a vulture. I always seen a cobra.
See?
Or maybe it was a vulture. I'm confused. Oh, y'all messing up my head today.
Bacon noodle. Every day. Bacon noodle.
Oh, we got one-legged peoples. We got half-body peoples. We now we have things being blown up, causing migraines. This year going to hell in a handbasket, isn't it?
It's true, man. It's true. It's crazy stuff.
People have even reported having loved ones that they know have died show back up alive.
See, that's where you're gonna get.
Oh,
that's where I'm gonna have to dip out.
I mean, that's like end of times stuff. Like, that's like Book of Revelation stuff. Like, people coming back from the dead and all of that. If that starts happening, like, I'm packing my bags and I am heading for the wilderness and I'm not looking back.
Are you kidding? I'm going to Mars. I'm calling Elon Musk and going, look here.
You still got that ticket available?
Right, one way. I'm going Mars. Take me. I'm going. Let's go. I can't. No. Could you imagine? Going?
I heard Tom Hanks turned down his ticket. Maybe that one's free for you.
Oh no. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Let's see what we got.
Right there where Sacred Light just said, the people coming back and they knew that they, you got me messed up on that one. Nope. I don't care if you're not really dead. You're going to be dead today because I remember you being dead. I remember seeing it and I remember being mourning. You're going to go, nah. Nope, can't do it. Not me. I refuse.
Yeah, right there. I am right there with Tina. That's exactly where I'm at.
You can go to the forest, and Sooth can go to Mars. Y'all know where I'm going. Pluto. Y'all know where I'm going. If anybody want to come with me, y'all can. But y'all know where my ass going. Pluto.
I can see it, man. Could you imagine waking up and, grandmama's making breakfast downstairs like nothing ever happened? Just, there's grandmama downstairs making. Nah, nope. I would
No.
all the way out. Gone. No, thank you. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I definitely say we should all start keeping a close eye on the little things. And no matter how weird it might be, like, we need to be reporting that. Like, we need to make a channel just for that in the Discord, so that if anybody sees anything out of the ordinary that, is starting to go wonky, like, we need to report that stuff in there so that we can all, like, be on the same page. Because if CERN is running, then stuff's about to get weird.
I fully support that message. 100%, because I've been posting it in conspiracy theories, but we will totally make it its own channel and we'll just put Mandela effects for the channel so that you can easily find it in the Discord. And like I said, if you're not a part of the Discord, there is a link right above our head. Hit the link, join the Discord, make things, do things, enjoy, have fun. To your spoopy heart's desire, right there above our heads. Join the Discord. We also have an Instagram, which I'm not a big fan of Instagram, but we have one. It's there in case, you want to go over there and annoy us on Instagram or have us annoy you, whichever you feel like doing. And then we also have a group on Facebook called the Paranormal and Creepy Group. It's a private group. You're going to have to request to join, but that's there. And recently we have made our RSS account, which means we're going to be doing things like Spotify and iHeartRadio, because you can also find us on SoundCloud right now. We've got a YouTube channel. It has nothing on it, but it soon will, because we're working on that. We're working on that. And we've already got our topic for the Paranormal Umbrella this Friday at 8 o'clock. We're going to be talking about the Warrens. If y'all don't know who the Warrens are, I'm sorry.
I didn't know, so
you didn't know.
I'm gonna have to do my own research on this, because there's some interesting, spooky stuff that I might be able to add to that podcast as well.
Yeah, it's Ed and Lorraine Warren. Okay, and they're more than Annabelle. They're more than the movies that they've been making based off of their exorcisms and their findings and all of that stuff. They're more than that. Okay, so Ed and Lorraine Warren, will be talking about them. We'll be talking about exorcisms and ghosties and haunted places and all of that wonderfulness on Paranormal Umbrella on Friday nights. And of course, you can also find us here on Wednesday nights for the Paranational Cryptid Preservation Society, where we talk about all things cryptid. And apparently also the Mandela effects, because, ADHD brain is glorious. It takes us there.
Which, by the way, that channel has been added. So we are good to go for Mandela effects.
Yeah. And because it's Discord, if you find anything, links, videos, spoopy videos, topics, anything that you want to talk about, you can add there. You can link it. We will look, we will watch, we will discuss, we will cuss and discuss, we will make coffee.
We love to hear you guys talk about that stuff. So definitely join in on the discussions.
And if you've got suggestions for podcasts, topics, subjects, anything, all of the above, let us know. That's what the Discord is there for. To not only interact and to meet peers and people of like-mindedness, but also to, hey, I want to know more about this. You think you could, do a whole talk on it? Sure, why not? I don't see why not. Let's do the thing. Anyway, let's see what we got on our comments here.
So when are we going to do the Mandela Effect episode?
Oh, she's calling me out. She's calling me out. Okay. All right. I know. I got impassioned. We're gonna have to do a Mandela Effect episode. So if it's
I'm
not,
excited about the one.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. And because my friend here, Sacred Light, she has been studying Mandela Effect for years. So we may have to pull her up on the panel to do some discussion.
Absolutely. I definitely say if she has knowledge about this, Sacred Light, if you've got knowledge about this stuff, we will totally have you in here, and if you want to be in here, obviously. And
no, she don't get a choice. Are you kidding me?
All right, then. I guess the decision's made.
You want to call me out? That's fine. I'm going to put you on with everybody. We also have a request for Tina to talk about Courage the Cowardly Dog and how cryptids played a huge role in that.
Right.
So we're going to
have earlier.
Yep, that's another podcast that we're going to have to do for the paranormal umbrella. Or, you know what? I think that actually falls under the cryptid. So we may have to do that for next Wednesday if Tina...
That would be a good one.
We'll have to pull her up on the panel as well so that we can discuss the effects of cryptids in mainstream media.
Sounds good to me.
Nah, no. This is too much horror movie for me. No. If I know that grandma dead, if I know that grandma died, and next thing you know, I hear her calling me into the kitchen saying, "Baby, do you want some pancakes? I made some pancakes. How many pancakes do you want, sweetheart?" I'm be like, "Sweetheart, you could take your tail back to that grave real quick, because I'm damn."
This is what we need to call it Sam and Dean. It's a Sam and Dean moment. For sure.
You might want to make it a 2-hour podcast at least.
You know what? I don't even mind going longer if we need to for an episode like that. If we've got the content, absolutely. I say let's do it. We'll make it a special.
Look, she's just bringing it out, man. She's just like, fine. She's calling me out, and I raise you an extra hour. She ain't scared. She ain't scared at all. She ain't worried. She's like, I got this. I don't need you. I don't need you or your podcast.
Well, I am very excited about these future podcasts.
As am I. We've got a couple lined up, a couple good ones. Anyway, so we have gone 12 minutes over our time. We have decided what we are going to be talking about in our future podcast. And it looks like we're just going to have to go ahead and sneak in an extra paranormal umbrella next week so that we can fit everything in. So thank you all so much for joining the podcast, sticking with us through all of our craziness and coming to listen and interacting with us. We enjoy it. We love it. We love your comments. We love your questions. It's great. It's wonderful. It's one of the reasons why we do it every day. So thank you so much. We're going to be here next Wednesday for the Paranatural Cryptid Preservation Society at 8 o'clock. And we will be here tomorrow night for the paranormal umbrella, discussing the Warrens and the ghosties and the exorcisms and all the demon things. So it's going to be fun. Day after tomorrow. Yeah, day after tomorrow. That's right. I forgot what's the other day. Look.
Today's Wednesday.
I haven't had too much going on this week, so screw you and your time zone. That's all I have to say. So not tomorrow, Friday. My bad. Friday, not Wednesday. Anyway, whatever.
Have a good night, everyone.
That's right. Have a good night. If you're not following us, you can follow us here on stereo so that you don't ever miss a talk. And join the Discord and all that wonderfulness. Anyways, peace out. We're gone. Check under your bed.
Have a good night.
Be the salt. Protect your circles. Say prayers. Good night. All
She's
that
still going.
Bye. Later. Bye.
Bye.